So you recently were released from prison.
Yes.
You did 3 years for doing illegal butt injections.
Well, I actually did 17 months of incarceration. I was sentenced to 3 years, that is correct.
Okay.
But I was incarcerated for 17 months, and then I was in a halfway house for 6 months. So a total of 23 months of...
Okay. So how did you initially get into doing butt injections?
Well, I started doing the butt injections through a friend of mine. Actually, I received the injections from him back in 1999.
Oh, so you actually were injected yourself?
I was.
Okay.
And so I started to travel with him all over the country. And he passed away in the year of 2000, and it was at that time that I was passed his little black book.
Okay.
And his business, pretty much.
All of his clients?
All of his clients, yes.
Okay. And these clients were mostly strippers?
Well, when I first started out, amazingly enough, most of the clients that I received through his black book were transgenders. And so it kind of went from me doing transgenders to strippers to housewives, working class women, and celebrities as well.
Okay. And these things were called pump parties?
Well, I've heard of the pump parties, but I never actually did pump parties. Pump parties are normally when a group of people will get together and have the injector to come to them, and they host these parties. Me, I considered myself more of a business person, because what happened is my clients would call, schedule an appointment, and I would actually have them come to me one by one. You know, I would travel to the city they were in, and if I had like maybe 10, 15, 20 clients, then I would schedule their appointments, and they would come according to the time that they had scheduled.
Okay. But you yourself are not a doctor?
No, I'm not a doctor.
You're not a registered nurse?
Not a registered nurse.
Have you taken any medical training at all?
I had never had any medical training, so therefore I was definitely not, a person that was qualified to perform these procedures.
So you knew what you were doing was illegal?
I definitely knew what I was doing was illegal, yes.
And how much would you charge for a typical injection?
When I first started, the price back in 2000, it ranged from $500 to $1,000. When I was arrested in 2012, the price was from $800 to $1,600, depending on the amount of cc's that the client received at one time.
Okay, because some people wanted, I guess, huge, and some people wanted just a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And there was always a minimum, and then there was a maximum amount that you could receive at one time, and that's what lowered the risk of, you running across any type of danger.
Okay. How many injections do you think you did over the course of your career?
In 12 years, probably a few thousand.
Okay. So it was rumored that you made about $1.5 million off of this?
In 3 years, yes, that's what the feds say. Yes, they went back from 2011 to 2008. So yes, the feds say they estimate that I made $1.5 million in those 3 years.
But that's just 3 years. You did it for 12 years.
Yes, I did.
So you're talking, what, $6 million maybe?
I don't know.
Okay. So, but you were making, you made over $1 million.
I did.
Okay. So making that much money, how did that affect your lifestyle?
Well, my lifestyle definitely changed, I'm mom to 3 kids. I'm a single parent. And so some of the things that it did enable me to do was put my kids through school. I have one son that graduated college, and I was able to pay his tuition in full. And I was very active in my community and in the church. So I was able to help a lot of people and do a lot of things that I otherwise probably would not have been able to do.
Did your kids ever say, "Hey, Mommy, what do you do for a living?"
Oh, yes, absolutely. I remember going to take my oldest son to college. He graduated from Tuskegee, and it was at that time when he had to fill out the application, and it asked for the mom's occupation. And he was like, what do you want me to put on here? Are you a doctor, a nurse, or what are you, a home builder? Because even though I was doing the injections, I always had a legitimate business on the side.
Mm-hmm. Did your kids know what you actually did?
They did not.
Okay. So you allegedly were using silicone that was supposed to be used for metal and plastic fabrication.
That's what the feds say, but that's definitely not true.
It's not true?
No, definitely not true.
What were you using?
Well, it was medical grade silicone, and a lot of it involves, around my case, it involves the fact that there was a doctor involved, and because I would not give them information about where I was receiving the silicone from, it just got to be a big thing with, well, what type of silicone are you using? Where did you get the silicone from? And that was something I chose not to disclose, and that was part of the reason why they said, oh, well, you were using silicone from metal or what. I don't even know what kind they said it was, but I definitely would not involve the doctor that I was getting the silicone from.
So, I mean, according to the story that I read about you, you had ordered 5,000 pounds of silicone at one point?
I haven't read that story.
You haven't read that?
No,
it was
I didn't
in the Daily Mail.
Oh, I didn't read that story,
Okay.
so I don't.
So, but that's not true?
No, that's not true.
But you were using a lot of silicone.
Yes, definitely using a lot of silicone. It's just that I didn't read the one in the Daily Mail. There were so many stories out.
Okay. So, I mean, when you were getting silicone, and I'm not going to ask where you got it from, like how big of batches would you get?
Well, it didn't come in batches. It was in containers,
Okay.
like quart-sized containers. So it wasn't in big batches. But I don't know exactly how much I used over the course of 12 years. So, I mean, I don't know.
Quite a lot, probably.
Yes, I did use a lot.
So in the story, it also said that you would use like crazy glue and cotton balls to keep the silicone from leaking?
Well, it's not crazy glue. It was a glue gel. And what the gel did was it kept the silicone from leaking out until your body was able to make its own scab over the needle mark. So that part is true as far as the super glue. It was super glue gel and cotton balls. That's true.
Okay. Was there ever a point when someone came in and said, I want an ass so big that you were like, I don't think I could do that?
There were times, first of all, the way that it works is a client can only receive so much silicone at one time because your muscle in your butt is like your stomach. If you inject too much in, then your body will start to regurgitate it. Well, the muscle will. So that's when you increase the chances of migration. So there were definitely times when clients would come in and they would want to get more than I was willing to do. And I actually turned quite a few people away for that reason.
Okay.
Over the course of time, maybe after they came to see me like 2 or 3 times. If I felt like they had enough, then that's definitely it. I would not take the money because at that point it was about more than money.
Okay, so clients would come back multiple times.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because they wanted a bigger butt, they would start out at one size and then they would want to go bigger and they would want to continue to come back.
Well, why do you think that these clients would come back? Because at one point it just starts becoming kind of just cartoon looking. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
At one point, you have something, it looks kind of natural, it looks big, you wonder whether it's real, but at one point it's like, okay, clearly this is just ridiculous. But why do you think these clients came back? Are these, I'm sure some of them were transgenders, but were there regular females that just wanted the gigantic cartoon-sized?
Well, let me just say this. I did start in the transgender community. Those were my first clients because that's the business that I took over from my friend that passed away. However, as time went on, there were regular women that would come to me, not because they wanted cartoonish butts, but because they actually just wanted to look better in their clothing. Then you have a stripper, someone that was going into the business of stripping, and she didn't have a butt, and she wanted a butt because she knew that if she looked better, she would start to make more money. Yeah. And then there were the celebrity clients. I mean, I have celebrity clients that I see on TV all the time. And a lot of those clients, they don't look cartoonish. Me, myself, I was never responsible for giving someone that cartoonish look. And even though what I did was illegal and I accept responsibility for what I did and I'm in a different place now, at that time that I was doing the injections, I really did take my business seriously. And it wasn't about just giving someone a gigantic, enormous butt.
Who were some of the celebrity clients?
I'm not at liberty to talk about those because the thing is, look, they have long pockets and I can't afford to be sued right now. However, I do have a book that's out and I do talk about the celebrities in my book.
Wait, so you talk about the celebrities in your book?
Yes, I do.
And the book is out?
The book is out. It's entitled The Backside of the Story.
So if it's out in the book, then you should be able to talk about it on camera.
Well, I choose not to talk about it on camera.
Is the book on Amazon?
It is on Amazon.
Can I download the book right now?
You can download the book.
Okay. Let's download the book.
Actually, there's a copy of the book out. I brought a copy.
You brought a copy?
Mm-hmm.
So which, am I looking at the left side or the right side?
The right side. You just have to kind of read through it.
Okay. Seeing celebrities was the norm to me, and I worked on quite a few of them. To me, they were just regular people who happened to be in the spotlight for all the world to see. The only setback regarding me working on celebrities was that they never gave me any referrals. I attended celebrity parties, award shows, and other gatherings, but because they were so secretive about the fact that they'd gotten butt shots, they would act as though they didn't know me. So them giving someone my information was out of the question. They didn't want anyone else to say, well, how did you get her info? Do you have any work done? It was like taboo to them. And because I only gained clients by referrals, I didn't really care about gaining celebrities as clients. Keep going?
Yeah, you may have to. If not, I'll find another section.
I guess they felt better thinking that everybody in the public and all their fans just simply wouldn't notice. The girl I worked on, who was an up-and-coming rapper and singer, had her work done before she was in the public eye. People didn't really know who she was. She was smart, but she did it on the onset of her career. Her new look is all people saw. There are no old pictures to compare it to. So this is clearly not Nicki Minaj because they're, old pictures to compare it to. I've had several clients.
Where'd you see old pictures of Nicki?
There's old pictures of Nicki.
There are not old pictures of Nicki from when?
When she first started rapping. There's pictures of her before her butt was big.
How did she look when she first started rapping?
When she first started rapping, well, you see, I was kind of around before she got signed and everything else like that.
And how was she? Was she a tomboy?
No, not really.
I've known Nicki for a long time.
You know Nicki Minaj?
I do know Nicki.
Okay.
I haven't seen her in a long time. I mean, personally, but no, that goes before then, sweetheart. That's actually when she first started.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
No,
when you said rapping, I meant when she was first trying to come on, not when she first got on.
Okay, because I beg to differ,
Yeah, when she came on and she was signed, then yeah, she had the big butt.
No, okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, no, it was, all right.
Have you ever done any work with Nicki Minaj?
I know her. I mean, she's a very sweet girl. She really is.
I've interviewed Safari before.
You've interviewed who?
Safari, her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Right. And, we talked about the whole butt thing. It is what it is kind of his statement.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something that you supported?
As
Were you like, yo, let's just go huge. Like, yo, I'm telling you, like, this is going to work. We're going to go crazy. We're going to do this.
Yo.
And you can't even say it didn't work. Cause
Wow, that's a hell of a question.
was there something the Safari was like, yeah, like yo.
Yo, man, all that matters is that Nikki is a beautiful person now.
I think it's pretty clear when you look at the pictures of Nikki, like the old pictures of Nikki when she was first starting to rap, and when you look at her now, clearly she's had work done on her butt.
Oh,
I'll go ahead and say that.
well, you can say.
I can go ahead and say that. But you know Nicki Minaj.
She's a very sweet girl. She's nice.
Okay.
And she's grown into a nice, young lady. Well, lady.
Okay. I've had several clients come to me who are already very famous. It was senseless to be so secretive for the first 20 years. And the whole world already knew what you look like. Yes, honey, the celebrity woman was a famous singer. She had been out of commission for a few years, struggling with a monkey on her back. She was trying to make a comeback, and everybody was generally hoping she would conquer her problems. She definitely had her share of drama, but still, she had a one-of-a-kind voice. The whole world knew her. When she called me to come and see her, the first thing I wanted to do was feed her. She was so skinny.
She's passed away now.
Oh, this person you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. But when I wrote the book, she was still alive.
A female singer who had passed away. Whitney Houston? No comment?
I don't have a comment.
So you don't actually say names in any of this?
I don't say names in the book. However, I won't say that that's not to come, but that's really not what I'm about, because at the end of the day, like I started off saying, they're people, and, they came to me for a service. And
Okay.
that was my job.
Were celebrities paying you more, or was it the standard rate?
No, they paid me the standard rate, because to me they were just people. I mean, there may have been a little bit more money just to keep my mouth closed, or because they definitely wanted a more private setting, So then, of course, the accommodations were a lot better, and I was treated a little bit differently.
Okay. Now, at least one of the girls that you did the procedure on got seriously sick.
Well, she didn't get seriously sick. She actually went to the hospital. That's how my whole case started. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was because of that. She went to the hospital in Baltimore, and she was having a problem with her lungs. And
with her lungs?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I don't really know the full story behind it, because if you continue to read, you will know that's not even what my case was centered around, was the young lady. I mean, she never came to court, never testified against me. Okay. But that is how my case initially started, yes.
Okay, so when she went to the hospital, she mentioned that she had a procedure from you.
She did. She had a procedure from me and a transvestite in Philadelphia who had performed work on her as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then at that point, the feds started to investigate?
They did.
Okay. So when they contacted you, did they already have their case laid out, or were they still kind of fishing?
They were still kind of fishing. They were trying to put the pieces together. And it's so strange, because the guy that I was dating, who was actually my security person, actually helped them to build the case against me.
Man, no loyalty these days, huh?
No loyalty. Hey, it is what it is.
So he actually worked with the feds.
He did.
Against you.
He did.
Even though you were paying him and you guys were romantically
yes.
involved. But I guess they probably dangled, well, if you don't help us, then you're going to be tied into this case as well.
And he, what's so funny? They dangled that before him, and he still ended up tied into the case. He actually went away for 3 months.
Okay, which isn't bad, though.
No, it's not bad, right. But he still has a record, just like me now.
Okay. So the girl who got sick, she didn't die or anything else like that?
No, she didn't.
Because clearly you would have more than 3 years if she died. Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that she didn't, and I'm very grateful that she's the only person that has come forward with any complications, because like I said, sometimes, and I didn't say this, but when you're in the midst of doing something illegal and in your mind you're telling yourself that you're helping people to feel better about themselves and you're seeing the things that they've accomplished, you know, the strippers, the celebrities or whatever, you just kind of gain this grandiose behavior, you know, saying, oh, I'm the one who helped them to do that. And you don't stop. Well, I didn't stop to think about the negative consequences, you know, not just getting into trouble, but the consequences that could have happened if someone were seriously injured.
Well, what you were doing was illegal because it was not FDA approved, right?
It's illegal to inject silicone.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. The FDA does not allow a medical doctor to inject silicone into your butt because it potentially has dangerous repercussions. They do allow, you know, implants.
Yes.
They do allow fat transfers.
Yes.
But silicone is illegal, not because the FDA doesn't want doctors to make money, but because they're looking at the safety of the patients. Right?
Absolutely.
People have died
Yes,
from illegal butt injections.
they have.
There was a situation that involved Pebbles, the model,
Yes.
right, and a transvestite who was doing the injections, where a girl actually died. And Pebbles, I don't know, she got like 7 or 10 years or something like that. She's still in prison right now.
Yes, she is in prison.
The woman who, well, the transgender who did the operation, I think, got more time. It was essentially murder,
Yes.
right? So that could have happened to you.
It could have happened.
You could have killed somebody.
Very well. Yeah, very well so. That's true.
Were you thinking of that when you were doing this?
Of course not. I mean, I didn't. Of course, you think about what could happen, but you don't stop to think about, oh, it could very well happen this time or the next time. I never thought about that. And I have so many regrets, but I'm very grateful that, you know, my life was changed because I could very well be walking in those shoes.
There was a woman that I'd seen an interview with who lost her arms and legs.
Yes.
You know about this?
Yes, and it's very unfortunate because she did not have to lose her limbs. It's just that the doctors did not know. She had an infection, and the infection kept spreading. And once they, you know, amputated her legs and her arms, they later found out that could have been prevented. But it did start because of the injections. Yes.
And I had heard that, I mean, you mentioned you use silicone, but I had heard like caulking. People would use caulking.
Fix a flat.
Fix a flat, the stuff that you put on your window to prevent a draft.
Yes.
All sorts of crazy stuff. Cement.
They do.
And so forth. Was there a reason why you use silicone as opposed to some of this other stuff?
Well, I use silicone because, first of all, that's what I was taught to use. And it seemed to be the safer route to go. But I would never go in the store and buy Fix a Flat and inject it into someone. That's not my character. I would never do that. So that's just what I was taught to use, and that's what people are still using when you go out of the country and you go to other countries, which, by the way, I used to travel to the Dominican Republic a lot, and I would always talk to doctors over there. These are some of the things that they use. You know, they may not actually inject it syringe or needle by needle, but they use more of a method where it's in the IV bags and it's more intravenous that they're putting it into the muscle. I don't know if it's intravenous, but it's going through and it's going into the muscle. So when I would go out of the country, I would always try to find out, not get training, but just ask a lot of questions.
Okay, so is it actually legal in DR to do what you were doing in the U.S.?
It's legal in other countries, Mexico, Cuba, yes. I don't know exactly about the DR, but it's definitely done over there as well.
Okay. But the medical standards in some of these countries are much lower.
Very different, yes.
When you look at celebrities these days, can you look at a woman and say, that's real, that's not real?
It's very difficult now, but what you can notice, and you spoke about it, the cartoonish look, is because their legs and thighs don't match their butts. So then it makes you say, oh, well, you know what? That doesn't really look real, so I doubt if it's real. But it's very difficult because sometimes the work is really good, and if they don't overdo it, then it turns out to look nice, actually.
Kim Kardashian? Real? Not real?
Definitely not real.
Black China?
Definitely not real. And they know each other, by the way. You do know that, right?
Black China and Kim Kardashian? Yeah, I know. They were on I seen them on the show. They were on,
yeah,
she was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know
I
them
was
from
flipping
a
through the
different
channels
way,
one
but-
day, and I think Kris Jenner was taking pole dancing classes, and Black China was there with her.
It's so funny
hanging
because
out.
I'm on a reality show now, but I'm not a reality show person. I don't watch reality TV.
Who are some other celebrities out there?
There's Delicious.
Delicious.
There's,
Real or fake?
well, she had a nice butt to start with, so she just, did a little something. Then there's quite a few people out there.
Let me think. Who else is there?
I'll let you name the names because I don't know how this edit is going to turn out. So.
Nicki Minaj?
We talked about her already.
Not real. Who else out there? Khloe Kardashian.
She's definitely had something done, but I'm not now I can't really speak for Khloe. I don't know exactly. She could have very well had a fat transfer, but the problem with that is if you don't have fat to take from one part of your body to put into your butt, then you definitely end up doing the silicone injections.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people don't know as well.
She actually denied it.
I'm sure.
At one point, she addressed it, I think, on Twitter or Instagram and said, I do 1 million squats a day, nice try, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I don't know. Kylie Jenner.
I've not seen her. You're connecting me to the whole Kardashian family. I mean, I don't know about Kylie.
K. Michelle.
She's had work.
Well, K. Michelle actually admitted. to
Yeah,
having
she's
work.
trying to have it removed, but it's not
trying to-
going anywhere
Yeah, she said she got it removed, and I look, and it looks pretty much the same.
because you can't get it removed.
Okay.
Once
Well,
the
actually,
silicone is there, that's not coming out.
I actually, a girl was telling me about her roommate who had some shots done, and they started to leak down her leg, and she started getting bumps in more like the lower part of her legs and thighs and so forth. And she said she went to Miami and had it pulled out.
They have to cut it out, and the scarring is very intense. It's so funny. I have a website, Kimberly Smedley, and the thing is, a lot of people that have had issues with silicone injections, they actually hit me up on the website, and there are a couple of doctors that I do refer them to if they, are having problems. And it's not the clients that I've done, fortunately, but they contact me on the website and I refer them to a doctor in Miami.
Okay, yeah, because I know she went to Miami.
His name is Dr. Gallerani, I believe.
Is this Dr. Miami? You know what I'm talking about? There's a guy named Dr. Miami, I guess, who.
Okay, I don't know him by that name.
This is someone different.
Okay.
Okay. So, in order to remove illegal butt shots, you have to actually cut a hole in your butt
You do.
and pull. But how do you remove it if it's liquid?
Well, what happens is our body, when you put anything foreign into your body actually sends out the white blood cells to go and encaps itself around whatever it is that's foreign in your body. So it ends up turning into granules, the silicone. Even though it goes in liquid, after a while, if your body starts to reject it, it turns into granules. So then, it's like little grapes or
Yeah.
little pellets, and that's what they have to go in and try to remove. They can't remove the liquid, but if it has solidified, then they have to actually go in and cut it out.
Yeah, well, this girl that I was telling you about who had to have it removed, she said that she had like a big like lump on her like vagina, essentially.
wow.
I guess it leaked into like the area around her vagina. There was like a big lump there, and that's what she tried to get removed. So this is when you're talking about these grapes,
Yeah.
these lumps. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
It is crazy stuff, and that's why you have people that do the injections, and for it to actually migrate to her vagina area, it had to be injected pretty low. I could see it going into the legs, but for it to travel from the butt to the vagina that's deep.
Okay, but it does start to travel down the legs, like you know about this.
It will.
This happens.
There is a tendency, yes, that does happen.
Does that happen most of the time or some of the time?
Some of the time.
Okay.
Not most of the time, some of the time.
Some of the time.
Will.
Okay. So you get busted. There's a trial, or did you just plead out?
I pled out. Okay. I actually pled before I was indicted. There was never an indictment. I just went ahead and just decided to deal with it, yes.
You cooperated.
I did.
With the authorities.
On my own behalf, though. I mean,
you didn't get a lawyer or anything else like that?
Oh, I did have an attorney, but I'm saying I didn't bring anybody else into my case. I just kept my case centered around me. The focal point was on me.
Okay. So you agreed to 3 years.
Yes.
And that got carved up between jail time and house arrest.
Yes.
And you said 18 months jail time?
I did 17 months
months
incarceration and 6 months in a halfway house with an ankle monitor.
Okay. Was the 17 months pretty tough? Was this your first time in prison?
Oh, God, yes, it was my first time in prison. It was. I mean, anytime you're taken away from your family and the things that you're familiar with, yes, it is tough. And my daughter, I adopted my daughter. She's 13 now. I've had her since she was 4 months. She went through a really trying time, and I actually had to had my attorney to write the judge and postpone the time that I was supposed to turn myself in, because one thing about the feds, they will give you a chance to take care of your affairs before you have to surrender. So I ended up having to postpone that because she had to go through therapy. It was a really trying time.
Well, because at this point, it's all over the news.
Yes.
Mommy doesn't just do nursing stuff on the side. We now know what mommy does, and it's illegal. And now it's a federal case. It's in the media. There's a celebrity implications. So now, like, the blogs and some of these places that they, may visit are now covering stuff about mom.
Yes.
So your daughter had to go through therapy over it. How about you had 2 sons?
I do. The thing about my boys at the time that I went through it, one was 24 and the other one was 18. My 18-year-old at the time was in college in Florida. He dropped out of school. And
he dropped out of school?
He did. He dropped out of school.
Because his friends started to, give him a hard time, or?
I think it was, he and I are very close. I mean, there's 3 of them. I'm close to all 3 of them, but he was the baby boy for such a long time before I adopted my daughter, that he and I had a very special bond, and it was just a lot for him. And he dropped out of school and came home. He was back in Atlanta, and here I am in prison trying to still be a mom from prison. It just doesn't work. Yep. So I gained a lot. Some of the things that you think you do for the better of the family, being able to provide for them, when you lose it and you see everything that they go through, if I had it to do over again, I definitely would have done it very differently.
So now you're out. you don't have a career anymore like you used to have in terms of, I mean, I assume so.
No, it's definitely
I
true.
assume you'd be pretty crazy to go back and do that
Yes,
again.
absolutely.
So I assume that you're completely done with that.
Yes.
Is it hard now to try to support yourself?
Oh my goodness.
Coming from such a lucrative cash situation where you're not paying taxes and everything else like that.
Yeah, so I come home with a fine on probation.
How big was the fine?
The fine was $25,000.
Which is, considering how much you made, was pretty low.
Yes, I come home and I owe the IRS as well.
How much do you owe the IRS?
I owe them over $20,000.
Which is not bad either.
Which, I mean, but you know, I paid taxes. I always tried, the money was illegally gained, but I always tried to make sure I paid my taxes.
Right, but you're talking about, you know, you allegedly made millions of dollars from this. Taxes on that would be like $400,000 for every million. I mean, you know, because I'm in a fairly high tax bracket, so I know how much I have to pay. So to only have an IRS fine for $20,000, I think you got off pretty easy.
Well, you see, it's easy for you, but when you don't have it to pay, it's just like...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like I owe it. And there are so many things that I'm limited to. So while I'm in prison, I take time. And I will tell you this, up until the day I walked into prison, I felt like I had been treated very harshly. I mean, that was just my thinking. Oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't kill anybody. There are people that have killed people. I never went through that. You know, it's just something against me.
But you could have killed somebody.
I could have.
Yeah.
So that was my thinking up until I walked into prison. But when you're in prison, you have a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
And you start to look at what you've done wrong and what you could have done differently and what it is that you want to do differently once you're out of prison. Those things started to resonate. And so I said, you know what? Let me just see what it is that I can do differently. What is it that I want to do when I get home? So I wrote the book in prison, came home with the book, and I'm like, oh, everybody knows who I am, and I have this book, and people are just going to buy it. Wrong. Nobody bought the book. I probably still, now to this day, I've been home for a year and some months. I still probably have not even sold 100 copies of the book. If it's 100 copies, I've been very lucky. So I come home.
Well, that's because you're not naming names in the book. If you did a book where you named every celebrity that you did work on, you know, like for example, I interviewed Corinne Steffens a few times. You know who that is, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and you know, all her books name celebrities, and this is why. I mean, right now she's self-published, but initially she had a New York Times bestseller, and you know, she had a major publisher that put her stuff out and stuff like that.
But can I just share this with you? My clients that entrusted me to perform a procedure on them that they did not know whether or not they could possibly end up injured or die. That's truly not who I am, to just, you know, name their names and take away their privacy. What do I gain? I gain $1, but what else do I gain from it? And that's not why I'm sitting here right now. So it's very different for me.
Yeah.
So the trust between us, it works both ways, you know?
Yeah.
So makes it a lot different for me.
So what's next for you?
Okay, so what's next for me is I have a spa that I was very blessed to be able to open. I have a business partner, and I'm taking baby steps. I mean, I've gone from making $30,000 a month to now the spa covers my rent, which is a little less than $2,000 a month. Someone approached me about being a part of a reality show. It's on BET. It's From the Bottom Up, and it was created by Nikki Gilbert, and Queen Latifah is the executive producer.
Oh, okay. I know Shakim very well.
Do you know Shakim?
Yeah, her business partner. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I'm a part of the reality show, which is more like a docuseries because it's not like the Housewives brand where we're just fighting and throwing drinks or water. It's nothing like that.
Okay, so it's called From the Bottom Up.
From the Bottom Up.
And who are the other people on it?
Well, there's Christine Beatty, who was actually involved with the mayor Kwame Kilpatrick in Detroit, who's now serving 28 years federal prison time.
Right.
Well, she was involved with him in an extramarital affair, and she ended up perjuring herself. So she went to prison for 6 months. She's on the show. Then there's Sarah Stokes from Making the Band, who is involved in a domestic violence case with her husband. There's Crystal Wilson. She was from the Players Club. And there's Stacey Johnson, who actually ended up with a DUI while working for the mayor in Atlanta.
Okay, so these are all women who
They have
went
lost
to prison
everything,
and
yes.
lost everything. And
Yeah.
So forth. Okay, well, best of luck on the show.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Yes, and people can reach me on IG, Kimberly Smedley, Facebook, Kimberly Smedley, Twitter, Kimberly Smedley, and check out my website, www.kimberlysmedley.com.
I know Jaden a little bit. You know, we run into each other in Calabasas.
That's cute. He can date all the
he was
white
wearing
girls
a dress
and wear
last
all the
time.
skirts
Last time I
he
seen
wants
him.
to.
Yeah, he was wearing a dress last time I seen him.
Okay. Does he come down to Crenshaw with one on?
I don't think he goes to Crenshaw, period.
I don't think. He might slip down there, but he ain't got no goddamn skirt on when he comes down there. I bet you that.
Speak up for the black community on the main stage. Because she don't got to do that. Beyonce's rich. Beyonce's not black or white. She's Beyonce. All right? She's not man or woman. She's Beyonce. She's reached that level like Oprah. Like Oprah's just an entity. That's what Beyonce is. So Beyonce don't have to speak up for us.